been a long week. The highlights include getting lost on my way to work and being severely dogged by my one supervisor who I get the heebie-jeebies from. So, I'm just glad that the week is over with. Interesting side note, I think it happened on Wednesday. My morning routine is usually wake up, drink a cup of coffee, maybe have a sandwich of peanut butter or two, put myself together, try to get out of the room by at least 2 a.m., then walk 8 miles to work. I've been taking the same route every day, going through the downtown area in the morning because I like the buildings, I like the lights. But I've been noticing there's more activity on the streets. There's more people that hang around in the mornings and the early hours, more drunks, more strange people. I was on this path last week, coming to work on Friday. And I saw a guy at an ATM, and at first I just thought he was a random guy going to an ATM at that hour. But he wasn't really doing anything at the ATM. He was just kind of pressing buttons and looking at it. And then he stood on, I'm approaching, and he's standing on the side of the road now by the ATM, and I'm like, oh gosh, this guy. He's teetering, he's tottering. I look at people's body language from a distance to see whether or not this is a person to avoid at 2 o'clock in the morning. And this guy was giving off all the red flags, usually behavior related to drunkenness. You don't want to be near that guy. You don't want to even be seen by that guy if that's possible. But the way the road was, I was already halfway across a bridge. So I just kept going because it didn't make sense for me to turn around and try to find another route. And at that point, I didn't know any other way to get across this river that goes through the middle of the city. There's actually more than one bridge, but I'm learning slowly. So I wound up walking on the other side of the road from him, and he wound up walking in tandem with me on his side, and I'm walking quickly, and he's speeding up too, despite his inebriation. And he's going on and getting louder and louder and talking to people that aren't there and moving his hands and getting agitated. And I'm just like, great. This is my morning routine. This is my commute. These are my red sunglasses. I couldn't look more like a freak if I tried. Maybe if I don't know. I don't know. I'll come up with something later, I'm sure. I guess I'll just write something on my forehead. Yeah, that'll work. So, on Wednesday, I come to the same sort of area. It's before the bridge that I just mentioned. And there's a guy that's just standing in the street, in the middle of the street, just standing there. He's not doing anything other than that. And this is like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I saw his ass, and I was just like, nope. And I took a detour. I found the other bridge that this town has. I'm not sure if there's more than 2, but the other bridge is pretty nifty. And I went across the other bridge, And boy, did I get lost. I wound up in a whole nother neighborhood. I was like, I'll just use my internal GPS this entire time. I should have used my actual GPS, but I was trying to be all self-reliant. That didn't work out very well. I eventually turned the other GPS on. Well, actually, I found I reorientated myself. But when I did, I figured out that instead of going forwards towards the direction I wanted to go in, where my job is located, I went sideways and wound up basically going 2 miles out of my 2 or 3 miles out of my way and winding up near the zoo. Maybe that's a hint. Maybe that's the universe trying to talk to me. No. No. I've spent enough time in the zoo. I don't want to go back. So I texted my boss and he was all cool with it. He was like, just be careful. I was only about an hour. No, not even an hour. I was, I think, around 40 minutes late. Maybe 20 minutes late, or 30 minutes late, or 10 minutes late, or 60 minutes late. The choice is yours. I was okay though. My boss was cool with it. I told him what happened. That was on Wednesday. And holy moly, I was so tired. Because I'm averaging maybe about 4 hours of sleep a night. Maybe. So, wake up, do some push-ups, have a cup of coffee, maybe some peanut butter sandwiches, and go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, I took Uber. Thursday and Friday, I took Ubers in. Today I walked back. And on, I think it was yesterday, on Thursday, my supervisor, the one I don't get good feelings from, the one that really makes me feel like he wants to stick it up my ass, he was straight dogging me like nothing else. Like, they don't treat anybody else the way they treat me with this kind of, I don't know what the word is, scrutiny, micromanagement. So we're at the I'm at the station where usually we had two people, but due to our cutbacks we only have one person, most of the time one person in the station, which is me. And it's become very difficult because it's situated around a table. We're supposed to cut the wings and the legs off the chickens as they come by, and if there's something wrong with the wings or the legs, usually the wings are broken. We cut those off, put those on the table, and they get chopped up by a table saw so that you can have your flats on Sundays after church. And the legs just get thrown away. If there's something wrong with the legs, they're usually bruised up beyond any salvage. So we cut those off and toss them into a barrel. It's a lot of motion. It's a lot of work for one person to cover both areas. And you also have to make sure the chickens' heads have been completely removed, because sometimes they come through and they still have their head attached. Or sometimes the people in the sorting station will forget to remove the coagia. I think that's how you say it. Cloacia, the bunghole from the chicken. So you have to carve that off. And these birds, like I mentioned before, are coming by. I clocked it at 5 a second today. So every second, 5 birds go by. So whatever you have to do, you have a fraction of a second to do it in. And sometimes it's multiple carcasses that have something wrong with the legs. That's really the big problem on this particular station, because the legs can be tricky to remove. If you don't get the angle right with your knife and slide it through between the joint, between the bone joints. Because if you do hit the angle just right, your knife just goes right through. Like a hot knife through ice cream. If you get it wrong, though, you can get caught up on that leg, and that'll mess up your whole rhythm. And then 4 or 5 other birds need to be taken care of. Usually the trick is to remove the bird. If you have multiple birds coming through, usually the trick is to just take them off the shackle, put them on to the little counter thing, and kind of sort them out as you go. But that doesn't always work, because sometimes there's just a lot of birds that come through that have problems. And it doesn't help when your supervisor is literally standing right behind you, boring his eyes into the back of your skull the entire time, making you feel like you're breathing wrong or something. I'm turning around and I'm seeing this guy, and I'm like looking at him, and he is just like looking at me, watching me, looking me up and down, like he just hates every molecule that makes up my physical being. And he's going through the barrel. There's 2 barrels in front of me. I'm supposed to put all the chicken wings into one and all the chicken legs into the other, so that when they get dumped into the little river of death, they are separate but equal? I don't know. Anyways, he's going through the barrels. He's noticing that I've put more chicken legs into the chicken wing barrel and chicken wings in the chicken leg barrel. Oh no. It all goes to the same place. I mean, nobody's eating those particular ones. Those are all going to the waste. Anyways, he's like making a thing out of separating them and showing me that he's doing it. Like, he's like, he's like, you're not, doing your job right, or some type shit. And he's going through every single drumstick that I've removed from a bird. And I think I did maybe about like, oh my gosh, I don't know I don't keep track of those kind of numbers. I mean, I just go. I just try to keep up with the workflow, because if they get past me, then they go to the next station, which is the USDA station, and that can make the company look bad. So I try not to let anything get past me to the USDA station. I'm pouring buckets of sweat. I am putting my back into this. It's not like I'm lollygagging. It's not like I'm half-assing it. I think out of like 40 some odd chicken legs, which were clearly multicolored because they've been bruised through the whole carousel of death process this factory is, he found one that was slightly salvageable. He holds it up to me, and he's like I'm doing all my things, listening to music, and I hear this like barking noise. I turn around, and he's like, TJ, what was wrong with this one? I was just like, of course. You found the one. You found, oh, you got me. I was just trying to, just making some people hungry, that's what I come here to do. Oh, you're not getting this chicken leg. Ha ha ha. Like, what the fuck, man? I did that by accident. Shit. I just thought, hey, that one looked kind of weird. I'll take that off. I'm in go mode. I'm not like trying to ruin anybody's day or mess up the profit margins by one drumstick. He's like, what's wrong with this one right now? What's wrong with this one right here? What's wrong with it? I was like, oh, it looks a little bruised to me. He's like, that's not bruised. That's okay. I said, that's okay? He's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I guess I'll put it back. What the fuck do you want me to do? I made a mistake. Shit, man. I mean, why don't you hop in here and fucking see how fucking ridiculous this bullshit is? I'm not getting paid any more money. I'm not getting paid any extra money. I'm doing a shit ton of extra work here. This station is designed for 2 people. I'm doing the work of 2 people. And the workflow is really intense. He's been watching me for like the last 2 fucking days. He was watching me today, but he wasn't as intense. And he does these kinds of things, and then he's clearly doing this. Like it's clearly obvious that he's also doing these sort of antics in order to rustle my jimmies, as one might say, because after he gets done shaking me down and pointing out my one tiny minuscule mistake in a monumental amount of holy shit, I can't believe I got all that done by myself, he walks away laughing. So it's clearly not a case of managing me to make me do a better job. It's clearly he's just coming down to like piss on my parade and make me feel like shit no matter how hard I try at this job. And I'm honestly afraid of losing this job because of the downsizing my department has done. And this guy also honestly makes me feel like he looks at me like a piece of meat. Like he likes white boys. That's the sort of vibe that I get from him. Like he'll probably stick it into anything, but he looks at me like I'm on the menu. And it's not a good feeling. So, that's not going away. That's not getting any better. And I figured today my best course of action right now is to get his contact information, because he's one of my supervisors. I have 3 supervisors. My top supervisor, I have his contact information. Then there's a female. I have a pretty good back and forth rapport with her. And then there's this guy. So I'm going to get all their information so that the next time something like this happens, I can create like a clear communication with this particular supervisor and say, in a respectful manner, was there something I was doing wrong? Was there a particular reason that you were looking at me like that? I noticed that you were really focusing on me for the past 24 hours. Is there something that I'm not doing right by your standards? In order to sort of build a case. But yeah, that's my download. That's my vent. I have to pee. Keep your social distance.